Hello, 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 and welcome to Bourbon Street Bookers. It is so good to be back. So, y'all know who I am, but if y'all can see, my name is a little different today. And if you know,
Lord.
you know. If you know, you know. You know, you know. This is a two-part. This is a two-part. So there's that. And here's my sis. Hey,
Happy
Legra.
New Year.
I know. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. We know it's going to take everybody a few minutes to come strolling in. And we have one of the newest authors. Hey, Christina. One of the newest authors to the indie world. Because we're learning as we sit here and talk with her. She's not new to writing, but she's new to this kind of writing, right?
Yes.
So we just want to say welcome to author Lisa Trinidad.
Yes.
Hey,
I
my
have
girl
my
got her
drink.
hurricane.
Listen,
She is
listen. I
ready.
have my red beans and rice. I showed Ayana my plate, but I'm gonna be polite and leave it on the side because I was chowing down for real. And I was like, let me have my drink. I said, you know what? It should be polite and just wait until the show starts before I sip. But now the show has started, so I can sip.
So you can sip.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Cheers.
Thank you guys for joining us. Lisa, thank you for accepting our invitation.
Yes.
Um, it this listen. So I started out the new year saying, oh, I want to do some new to me authors. I know Bourbon Street Bookers has a lot of authors that are relatively new, but even more so, a lot that I don't know. We are up to 1,200 members in Bourbon
Oh
Street
goodness.
and counting, right? And
Mm.
so when the support comes and they're jumping in, they're chatting with us, I gotta go ahead and start passing out that support as well and reading some new authors. And I was not disappointed. I read quite a few, with yours being one, Faded. Mr. Omar taught me some things. I
That's so
got
funny. You call him
into
Mr. Omar.
I got into Jazzy Collins.
Mm.
I got into Chaslyn, and I may
Mm-hmm.
be saying her name right, Chaslyn or Chaslyn Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Her writing was good. Um, and there were a few more. I haven't gotten Tracy Brown yet, but Tara did.
Mm.
And I'm going to be getting into something Allegra sent me, Exposed by Naomi Chase, was it,
Oh
Allegra?
yeah. Yeah. And she also has another pen that she writes under. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I said I was gonna check it out.
Mm.
Hey, Karen. And there are so many authors out there that we definitely want to support and give everybody an opportunity. We get invitations all the time. If you guys read our newsletter today that dropped
Yes.
today,
I just saw
then
it.
you saw some goodies in there, and that would basically let y'all understand what Dr. First Lady means.
Oh my God.
But there's also a lot of new recommendations, a lot of like literally brand new to us authors that we jumped into, and like I said, we were not disappointed. We were not disappointed. So I hope y'all read Faded. This was Lisa's debut. Thank you, Christina, for always showing up for us, sis. This debut, man. Allegra, I'm gonna let you kick
It
it
was
off because she was
I
like,
told her,
"What the
I
hell
was
are
like,
y'all that got me
yeah.
reading?"
I said, what you got me reading? Because listen, I trust her. That's my sister reader. I trust her.
Hmm.
So she was like, we're gonna talk to let's she said, I read this book. It was really, really good. She said, I want you to read it. She said, what do you think about talking to the author at the end of the month? I said, well, that's fine. I said, yeah, go ahead and set it up. Well, I didn't read the book until when did I start? Thursday? Thursday or Friday. I text her, I said, Yana, what the hell you got me reading? I said, I have not read this. Elin Harris. She said, just keep reading. I was like, okay. And I'm reading and reading. And Omar had me mad at first because I was like, he played too many games. I didn't want that for Brent. Layla went in willingly. But I just felt like Brent was in love and Omar knew he was in love. And
Mm.
I just felt like, if you know that this is how somebody feels about you and what they want, leave that person alone if you can't give them what they want. So I was, twisted up with him for a minute. I was writing bad notes. I was like, look at this nigga. I'm telling you, I had notes. I was like, and look at this nigga. Look how he
Look
playing him. I'm telling you, I was burnt up. I was not a fan of Omar. I say,
So let me just say this. I was wowed by your book because number one, you step way out the box for me because I was like that very opening scene when he was at the apartment. I
that was trifling. That was trifling. Oh my God, that
mean,
was
was
but
like,
trifling.
but was
oh,
it?
this what we
Was
doing.
it? I mean, but was it? I mean, the relationship.
Yes,
Girl,
because
when he told
whether
that boy, you see something you won't
whether
sip.
that's what the guy wanted to do or not, that was your roommate's boyfriend.
Exactly.
And now look what happened. Then
So
you had to hit the
disrespectful.
road.
Got
You
his
had to
ass
hit the
kicked
road
out.
with your little glad bags and go back home.
With your glad bags on the plane, like, get to
Yeah.
stepping.
I say, Lord.
Where did the inspiration for this story come from, Lisa? Shed some
Really,
light before we
really.
really jump in. Jump in.
Listen, it was basically based on my life. I had that situation. I actually met an Omar, and I've been
Oh,
holding on to the story for years. So let me
Mhm.
let me just paint the scene for you. I'm from San Diego,
Okay.
California.
and I'm sipping.
And back in the day, I'm a club kid. Like, so the one thing about San Diego, we are a beach town. And growing up, I was one of those people that I worked at a black bookstore in San Diego. I ran with an alternative crowd. My uncle runs a West African dance troupe out here, Tesacha San. So I was around dancers. So I was going out clubbing. I was, when I worked at the bookstore, is during the time we called it being conscious back in the day. We call it hotepery nowadays. But, it was like I was around the scenes of different types of people. So a club night for me typically would be like I had different cliques of friends. So what I would do is on a typical weekend night, I would be going up to Pacific Beach. Now Pacific Beach is like the white beach town over in our area. It's like San Diego is really small. It tries to pretend like it's a big city. We really are a country town in the West. So I would go see my friends who had a punk band. They were trying to be like Fishbone. So literally I have like my Doc Martens, my gear. I'd have like, I mean, I have dreads now, but back then I had like the big bongo locks and just just the Afrocentric look. So I would go do my punk and I mean, they sucked, but they were my friends and they're trying. And, I had a lot of DJ friends. So it's like, we support our people here. They may be terrible, but God bless them. They're doing their thing. So I would leave from Pacific Beach. And then I would drive downtown San Diego in the Gaslamp and I would go to a hip hop R&B club. Then later in the evening time, like usually about midnight, I would roll over into Old Town and they'd have like, we have a Caribbean population here. So I would do some dance hall. And every time I go out to close out my night, I would go to an area in San Diego called Hillcrest. And Hillcrest is known as the gay area of town. And I had a friend who worked at a club, and I would go when they'd have like black nights. Because one thing people need to know about gay areas, they're not as inclusive as they try to pretend to be. Like, oh, we love it. No, they're just as segregated in some parts too. So I would go on black nights. We'd have something called Chocolate Sundays, at a couple of the gay clubs. And I would go there for the house music because I was big in, it's just that deep Chicago house. So I would just pop, bop. And so at the time I was going to San Diego State and I would meet this dude. And so we'll call him Omar. And so we went to same school, roll with the same crowds. Like I have friends who do capoeira. So, and I would see him all the time. And as a dancer, it's like, you just love to dance. And, he was just a fabulous dancer. He was awesome. And I was like crazy about this dude. And I was like, whoa, he's just like amazing. And I would just, how you just see people, they pop up the same spot. You're like, okay, I'm feeling your vibe. And come to find out, we go to the same school, got the same peoples. And I was just smitten. Like, I was like, this dude is everything. So I would see him at the, the hip hop thing, and he was just like one of those, b-boys. He had that swag about him. It was like, all right, he can dance. We messed around a little bit. He was just that dude. I was like, oh, this is the potential to be something. One night, I'm hanging out in Hillcrest.
Did you hear that pause? One night.
I had a moment just like in
Once
the book
upon a
Faded.
time.
You know how there's a moment in the book where Layla discovers that Omar is not what she thought he was? I had that moment, not as dramatic as Layla.
I'm about to tell you, because that was dramatic.
But I had that happen to me. So I went to my other friend, he at the club, he does the lights. It's like, I would get in free because, you're a broke college student. Like, you got friends hanging out, like, nigga, let me in. Like, you're a girl. So, I'm coming in there, and it's the good. It's not like that, the pop house that people had. This is like when they let the black people come in, and brothers would come, and sister DJs would come in. They would dig in the crates and bring that deep Chicago, like that real stuff, where you just be sweating and you don't lie. And back in the day when we danced, you losing 50 pounds a night anyway. We were all skinny back in the day. And
yes, they
I
don't
was there,
dance like that anymore.
I was out there partying, and I look and I see my boy. It's like, oh, there's Omar. Now, here's the thing you need to know. In San Diego, a lot of heterosexual people go to the gay clubs too, because the black gay queer community, they have the best parties, hands down. Like, I don't care what nobody says, they have the best parties. Especially in San Diego. And then we go to LA and all that stuff too. And like, this dude, Omar, I would go, we go up to LA and go party. Like, that's how serious we were about party. We go to Mexico because I live right on the border. Like, literally, I'm 5 minutes. I can get in the car 5 minutes. I'm in Mexico. And, that was my boy. So it was nothing to see him at the club because everybody, it's like, whatever, the hip people know. Like, you hip. And, I thought I was hip, and I'm sitting there like, oh, okay, hey, I see you, all right. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, this could be a hookup because, we got taco shops that are 24 hours, so we can get some tacos and we can go, And then the moment happens where I see him with a man, and he's with this dude the way he's with me. And I was like, oh. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Well, let me not, okay, well, you know what? In the gay area, we dance, like I dance with women. You just dance. And it still didn't even click to my head until I saw him like kissing this dude. And I was like, okay, this is where we are. I understand now. My first thought wasn't anything like, oh my God, I didn't think that at all. My first thought was, I thought I was special. We would tear up the dance floor. Negro, what are you doing? Who is this dude? What is going on here? Like, I was disappointed to tell you the truth. I was like, I thought I was that girl. And so finally,
tell me, listen, all of this couldn't keep you off of that.
If you saw this dude, you would just know he was just that dude. Like, he was just like, his energy, everything about him was just, it was just exciting, and it's hard to find, dudes like that who like the same things that you like, party. Because everybody was big into the pop stuff. I was into like music from overseas, so we were into Tricky, we were listening to trip hop, we were getting like Black British soul. It was like he was on that vibe, and when you find those people, you latch onto them because it's like, God, you understand me. And so like later at night, I see him, and it wasn't like there was no shock on his face, like, oh, I'm busted, you see me. It was like, hey girl, what's up? What up?
And so that was Omar to T. In the
listen,
way
it was like, it is what it is. It's like, it is what it is.
And that's exactly how you wrote him, with no, I didn't see where he had any shame. I mean, there was that one time at that party at the beginning, where it was like, okay, we can't let on. But this is when he was back in his hometown, right? In his own comfort zone. And I have known the few gay people that I have known are not as comfortable around their own people because of judgment, right? But
they do what, how they say black people code switch,
right?
They also code switch,
and he had to, because this dude, like, and San Diego's a military town too, so we have like Camp Pendleton 30 minutes away. We also have the Marine base right here in San Diego. So literally, we would go out to the club and stand outside and have dudes like sign us in, the girls, to get us in, because that's how we learned all the dances from all across America and Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. That's what you did. And I would just see it, and it just didn't even occur to me. So when we had the conversation, it's like, so what's up? And he was like, it is what it is. Like, I'm cool with you. We can do this. And I was like, okay, I guess we can do this. So it didn't bother me because it's like, the only time we hung out this stuff was clubbing, whatever. And then he ended up graduating and then going back east to go get his master's. And I never saw him again. And he, how those dudes, like the ones you just think, oh, one. And during the pandemic, I was like, you start reassessing your life and thinking about stuff. And my sister was just joking, like, man, these kids don't know what a club because you used to get out there. And that's how the conversation started coming up about this dude. And I said, oh, I wonder what this dude is. And so literally the story of Faded is, what if I had done this? Because clearly he was into other people and was having
Right.
his thing. And it's really a what if situation. Like,
Did you
how
did
would
you
I have
classify
acted?
this? Did you classify this as romance?
I do classic because there's a happy ever after at the end because a romance always has an
Obviously.
HEA, and it just happens with Faded. The boy gets the girl and the guy, and they're
And the guy.
happy.
That
So
so let's talk about Brent. And
okay,
Christina brought up a really good point about
okay,
Brent. First of all, Brent obviously is a good looking motherfucker. Okay.
mm,
That's number one. He got his shit together. He has his own business.
mm-hmm.
He whether it was a guy or a girl, he was enough. And like many
He was.
people,
He
Mm,
definitely was.
like many people, we tend to put the next person on a pedestal like you not good enough, and he
mm,
found himself always going back. That was an interesting concept for me. So it helps you to see it's not a sex issue, it's a mental issue,
right,
with the lack of self-acceptance. And
mm-hmm.
that's what happened here with Brent. But like Christina said, Layla was a willing participant. She saw it with her own eyes. I mean, oh boy was
That's
dancing
why I was
all the
never,
way
I
over.
never, I never said anything about her. I never had any kind of sympathy or anything towards her because it wasn't needed.
Mm,
She knew exactly what she was doing, what she was signing up for. And then
right,
she had
Mhm.
her stuff together too. Because
mm-hmm.
when
Right.
she went and had that conversation with him, with Brent, and she was like, listen, set boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
You
That
know,
part.
tell,
Mm-hmm.
right.
That
She was like,
part.
set boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And, it, once it got to the point where the two of them started developing a friendship relationship,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
then I started being okay with it. But I
Right.
always, like from the beginning, sympathized with Brent
Mm-hmm.
because I was
Mhm.
like, baby, you deserve so much more. Don't let this nigga
So
do
much.
this to you.
Really
Right.
though.
Right. Right.
And that's what I kept
Omar
saying.
was
Don't let this
he was
nigga do
he
this
was
to you.
trifling, bro.
And
He
it's
was
one of
You
it's
know,
trifling.
it's one of the things that people who are in polyamorous relationships. So I have a bunch of friends who are in these types of relationships. So it's kind of like I've seen firsthand ones that have messed up because there was no communication, there were no boundaries, there was no like, this is what it is, I want this, I want that. There's no negotiation of time. And so one of the things that I love about writing Omar was how upfront he was. Most times
This girl
you're
crazy.
I know, May's like, don't
yeah,
let me do
I'm
that.
not playing her.
One of the things,
Baby,
yeah,
listen, first of all, it wasn't nothing about Omar short, obviously. Because O'Brien was able to swing it everywhere, okay?
yeah, and literally that's what I love about him. It's like, look, you can get it and you can get it. The question is, are y'all willing to accept that and to go and have that? And I wanted to write a type of story like that where the issue or the complication is, oh my God, we discover he's bisexual. Oh my God, because those are like trauma porn stories. Like, I don't want to hear that. I want to see somebody who's flourishing like the friends I see who are living their life, doing their thing, and literally like the dude I was crazy about. Like, literally, each of those characters are really with some facet of myself because I've been Layla, like the Afro punk. We're totally different people, but the things she's into, the way she thinks, I was like that at one point. I was like Omar at one point too, kind of like, you know what, monogamy is not really my thing. Polyamory is going to work for me better, but I don't know that many people are into that. And then Brent isn't facet of myself where, when you're raised to believe, one-on-one relationships, you fall in love and that's your person you're supposed to be with, and how can someone love you but be in love with someone else too? And the issue that a lot of people are having is that love and sexuality, all of those things really are fluid. It's just that in the last 5 or 6 years we're starting to see more of it because people are more comfortable coming out, especially in terms of bisexual men. Like when I
Mhm.
worked at the Black bookstore back in the day, one of the books that were really big was Elin Harris, like you mentioned. Like he
Mm-hmm.
sold those books out of his car and was writing, and the crux of those stories was like hiding, and it's like I don't want to write that kind of story. Like I would like to have something where a bisexual man is flourishing, and the issue isn't, hey, I'm this. It's more like, here's the dick. What we gonna do?
Mhm. Child, and he
Amen.
did what he did, and he did what he did. Cause I'm gonna tell you, the part that okay, so like I did not tell, and Allegra doesn't allow me to give her spoilers. She does not like spoilers.
I
At
say
all.
she
So
doesn't like spoilers.
I
Okay, I
I
try to be good.
had to get her reaction, okay? Because I knew she was gonna cuss me out.
I didn't cuss you out. I was just like, but if had I read the synopsis, I would have known. I just
What you
didn't
was
read the
getting into. Neither
synopsis
did
right.
I. I am not a synopsis reader. I am not.
Really?
I am not.
Really? Okay.
I literally was banking on, oh, hey, a new to me author, and then when we was in DM's Diamond and Fakima, and you showed up Fakima, so I was like, I'm gonna give her a try, and that's how it hits me at times. Takora Davison, what she goes by Takora Monique. What really attracted to me was her giving spirit. Like right now, she's giving away books for Tisha Andrews, but she
Mhm.
did it for winter time,
Winter.
and I'm sitting there, I'm watching, I'm like, man, this is beautiful. I love the support, and this is what we're all about. So when I
Mhm.
see somebody kind of doing the extraordinary, and what might seem ordinary to other people, it makes me say, let me check them out. If their personality and spirit is this good, let me see what that writing is. And since you
Mhm.
didn't disappoint, because like I said, it was out of pocket. It was
Mhm.
totally. I was in awe because look, the first time you saw it, Tanja, you saw when I put on there was your expression like, listen, that living room scene had my mouth open. But again, when we talk about damaged people, right, from
Mhm.
childhood trauma,
Mhm. Mhm.
I immediately started thinking about the Porter brothers. Again, not of the same context of,
Abuse.
yes, of
Mhm.
abuse,
Yeah.
but again, childhood trauma. If you read this with an open mind, whether it had been two women, or if Omar was the woman and it was two men, if it was,
Mhm.
you know, it still was a relationship that everybody was making a conscious decision to be a part of.
Right.
And while that might not be my thing, it did intrigue me a great
Mhm.
deal because I was like, how this shit gonna work? They working out a whole goddamn schedule.
And that's how those relationships, that's what they do. Literally, they have schedules. They have set days. This is our time. This is what we do. And it was like, trying to write something. I mean, and what you mentioned in terms of like support, like, being the debut, I picked Faded in particular to be the first book to come out because it does three things. One, it gives you an opportunity to see what my voice is, what my style is, to hear my
Uh-huh.
voice. It also lets you know how explicit my stuff is. Like, I don't, it's going to be high heat from jump. Like literally, like the first page is we on and popping from
Baby, and
jump
it
from
was.
one.
It
And
sure
then
was.
also the
It
third thing is
definitely
really
was.
It sure
and
was.
then the third thing really is just giving the idea of like the things that I'm interested in. Like I'm always interested in Black history, Black culture, the Black diaspora, and showing how Black people are everywhere and there's certain cultural things that we love and I love, and I want to make sure I put in all of my books. And like literally, it was like Sedona Rose, Kima B, Bella J, Katrina Jacks, Rosie Adams, like all of them, like interacting with me on Twitter and social media, encouraging me, like, yeah, you can do it. Like, just go ahead and put the book out. Because I was like, I don't know, I'm nervous, but girl, just put the book out. And because I was watching them in terms of how they market and like they just do it, like and they're very honest. Like they'll write and talk about I didn't make my pages today, or ooh, I hope you guys will like this when it comes out. And so it's encouraging to have that kind of that sisterhood where it was like, okay, I'm up because Faded could have came out a lot sooner, but I was just like, I don't know, because it's like this
Child.
might be a little bit out the box for some people. But it was the shortest book in terms of a novella. Like it's a quick read. So it's like that might be my best bet. Because just so people know my process is when I'm writing, I go through 3 phases. The first phase is my writing phase where I write it, and then I let the book sit and marinate. The second phase, I put on my editor hat where I'm editing it. The third phase is I look at everything as a reader before I even send it to the editor to get it professionally done. And so I kept procrastinating. Like I could have done this sooner, but it was like, so I figured, you know what? The end of 2021, everybody's probably made their list. If this totally sucks and I put it out, no one's going to remember it because it's the end of the year. Who cares? It's the end of the year. No one's going to care. And then it was really bad. I put it as an ebook.
Omar is not
listen,
forgettable.
I can snatch that bitch down and act like it didn't happen. I'll be like, what are you talking about?
But listen,
What are you talking about?
don't even say it like that, because just because this book was written in 2021, the series that I read before I read your book that I was telling Ayana about, that series came out in 2011.
Okay.
So don't just think
somebody's always gonna pick up on it.
That's what I'm about to say. Once you put that on paper, it is there forever. And I always say that two people had our names in their books, like characters named after us. And I told my friend, she said she read the book and she was like, "Girl, you didn't tell me you were a character in that book." I said, "Guess what? I'm a character in that book." I said, "I will never die." I said, "As long as my name
live forever,
as long as my name is
then
on
we
that
in it
page,
together.
I will never die."
Okay.
So now just think about that. You have this book.
Yes.
That book will be around forever. You will be long gone,
and that's like, you know, because I want to be like, I don't have any children. Like my books are they are my children,
babies,
and it's like, but like I said, like the encouragement from the other, you know, indie writers who were like, "Girl, you got this," and like the biggest supporters, and like, "Girl, you did it," you know, and so that makes the process of the next book that's coming out a lot easier because it's like, what do you got to lose? You're going to hit him with the whammy now,
and what do you have to lose?
And it's like, just do it. And it's like, it's the pandemic. It's so much. This is a new consciousness. It's a new thing. You know what? Just put it out and see. And honestly, I am so thrilled with the reviews of it. Cause it's like, you know, you see the reviews, and as a reader, I'm looking at reviews all the time to make my final decisions too. Like I read the bad ones, the good ones. And but you know, it's just like, but as a writer, I'm looking at it.
As a writer, I can see that. But as a reader, we have come to, because let me tell you something. Love Belvin is our absolute fave. You ain't shit nobody can tell me about love. Ain't a damn thing you can tell. If you don't like love, you don't like your damn self. Period. And I said it, and this shit is recorded. So understand that you like what you like. Everybody like, they're entitled to. But what you might have liked, I may not like. So I don't need your influence. Now, again, like Allegra is my sister reader, has been way before BSB existed. So if she knows me well enough to say, you might like this. Now, I do my spiritual reading sometimes. I totally disconnect from urban fiction.
Right.
Allegra likes to read for entertainment. She
I
ain't
do.
about to read all
I read
that.
strictly
so
for entertainment.
I'm not gonna say, says you need to read this. You know, when you connect with people and you're honest with yourself, now you can recommend it, but you know, you gotta understand, you meet people where they are, right? But and in speaking of that, again, when we talk about, I just want to take it back to that, addressing that childhood trauma that he went through. His dad, the problem that he had with him as a child, with the, you know, kissing a friend or what have you. I don't know why people think that's something that they need to fix.
Right.
That it's not anything that needs to be fixed. It's something that needs to be addressed. Like you need to hold a discussion with your child about what is going on. Why did you do that? Why did you feel the need to do that? Is that something that you want to continue doing?
If you can be honest like that, you know what I'm saying? But some people see shame in it. Some people want to basically tag it as this or that, evil, and you know, identifying it with all these other, and it's just a lot that's going on. But what I did appreciate was mom's effort to protect. But like Allegra said, what she didn't do was take the time to have a conversation that really
Mhm.
needed to be had. Because had she taken that time, she could have kept basically saved him from a lot of hurt.
Mhm.
And not
I mean,
just
he
that.
felt
I mean,
abandoned.
he should have. Rightfully
Right,
so, he felt abandoned. Whether his mama was trying to keep him away from his dad or not, you, first of all, you're not happy.
right,
Right.
Okay. So you need to figure yourself out. And just because this is something that this man is not into does not mean it's something that you shouldn't do.
Mhm.
If that's not you, and obviously it wasn't, because you wanted to be polyamorous also,
Mhm.
mhm. Because
or
mom
or
had her
or
own whole little
right.
side boot.
So, I'm not, but I what it was she was still in the wrong, because guess what? Mama picked the money over anything.
Right.
She picked the
Mm,
money over her happiness. She picked the money over her son.
right,
Mhm.
right.
Because like
And
he said, once she went out there, she had a way better life.
mhm.
Where she had more expensive things, the cars, the clothes, or
And
whatever.
and it
But
should have spoke volumes. This boy literally dodged them at.
hmm
I mean, didn't even want to be in the same room breathing. And when he did, the anxiety attack he was having. I mean, and to this day, Dad still wasn't ready to address it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, if we're gonna really be honest and in accepting of not only who we are, but who our children are, where they are in
Mhm.
life, we can't cast judgment. We
Right.
can't even live in that. But again, in understanding the damage that we end up doing,
Mhm.
that part. And Christine, you're making a great point here, and that's what a lot of women need to get to, or not women. I must say, people, parents need to understand not to choose someone else over their children to the
Mhm.
extent where you're allowing them, to be hurt. And it's just it's a lot. It's a
Mhm.
lot, and it again, we're in a culture where people don't necessarily feel it's necessary to go to counseling
Mhm.
and seek help outside of your home because
Right.
oh, they
we
don't they don't think they need it.
Right.
yeah,
They
Right.
exactly.
don't think they need it.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's one of those things too, because Omar's parents basically, they're lying to themselves too. Like they're trying to couch it because he has ADHD, or we're trying to do it for your education. And but
Right.
there's
Right.
undercurrents under that where it's like,
Right.
yeah, is that really what that is? Because if
Blowing
that's
smoke
your
up his
child,
ass, pretty
yeah,
much.
it's like if that's your child, you're gonna want your child to be with you. And at the same
Exactly.
time, parents do when they know things, they do with their best as they can. In hindsight, it probably sucked. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And you hope that when they know better, they do better. But oftentimes and not, they really don't.
But once you know better, you need to first off acknowledge,
Right.
apologize.
They would
That's
not do
that's what a
that.
conversation. That's what a conversation needs to start. It's like the fact that this man just refused to acknowledge, I fucked up. I
Mhm.
hurt you.
Mhm.
My bad, son. My
Mhm.
way of thinking didn't align with your way of living, and
Mhm.
I'm wrong for even
He
judging.
he will never apologize, because he does not think that he was wrong.
He
Mhm.
didn't.
He has his own issues.
He
He
does.
has acceptance issues. He couldn't accept that his wife was also attracted to women. That's one.
Hmm.
Two, that hurt him.
That's
He couldn't
ill.
accept, right. He couldn't deal with that hurt. So he was also traumatized. So when he saw this happening with his son, that was just a whole nother thing. Like, listen,
Mhm.
I
Oh, girl.
reject this. I
Mhm.
reject this. I
Mhm.
reject the kid and the action.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
To the point
Wow.
where he like takes a job in another state just to get away. Like, that
Exactly.
major, like, you know what, we're gonna not only don't like you, we're gonna move to another, and we're not gonna take you with us. We'll
And
leave
yeah,
you
see,
with
he should have
auntie
just
and
been
aunts.
single. Yeah, he should have just been single on his own. Go find you another woman that only wants you, and
Mhm.
and see,
go
this
about your
this is
business.
one of the things that I want to address about books. People are quick to judge the situations in a book, right? So,
Mhm.
and to be honest with you, like one of those other unique books that stood out to me, when you talk about multiple partners, was Black Effect with Sheree Lewis, right?
Mhm.
One of my absolute
Lord.
Mhm.
favorite series,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so with saying that, again, I call it non-traditional. It is totally, one of those reads that you'll be like, oh, okay. I would have never chose to read it had I known as much of the details.
Mm-hmm.
Again, my ignorance casting judgment on the circumstances, but the gems that's in this book, like
Mm-hmm.
the ladies are saying in the chat, conversations need to be held. We're talking about childhood trauma. We're talking about parents not listening. We're talking about communication that's ineffective. All of these things can exist in any relationship, whether it be
Right.
plus, a
Right.
relationship that's
Right.
intimate romantically or
Right.
in parental relationships. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Listen, Monica, don't come in here with that Mr. Black is your husband.
Wait, and the hashtag, baby.
You
Hashtag
see, girl,
Monica.
hashtag Monica, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So to know how it goes down in these books, this is my love for reading comes with so much. My books have ministered to me. My books
Mm-hmm.
have given me answers that I probably should have known, but again, it gave me different insights to
Right. A different
situations.
perspective. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Mm-hmm.
I encounter it in real life, like if I came into Omar, I won't be as standoffish because I work with a few guys that's gay, and if you're not familiar with them in that context, you probably will be like, judging again, standing on
Mm-hmm.
the sidelines
Mm-hmm.
judging. But
Mm-hmm. And it's
yeah,
hard
I
because
never judge them. I
uh-huh.
never judge them. I in my 45 years in this old age,
We
I
talking about
always
45 being
say,
old. What you talking about?
I always
In
in
Japan,
this
45 is teenage years. They have a whole different concept of age. So
wow,
45, you're entering teenage years. It's not until you're
damn,
80. It's not until
we
you're
still
80
a
in
that you
this
become an
baby.
in
adult.
this in this wise age,
Thank you. Extra
I
Dang.
have
grown. Extra grown.
learned to just say that's not for me.
Exactly.
It's okay that it's for you, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not for me.
Right. Right.
So I because I used to I used to judge people, but
Mm-hmm.
I have learned to say, oh, okay, that's not for me.
Right.
I
Right.
understand, that it's for you and you enjoy it. It's just not for me.
Right. Right. Right.
And
And
I think you can enjoy any type of reading with a mature mind. That's
right.
what it really boils down to. Because, like I said, yes, after the sex factor was behind me, the wow factor right there. How wild and open it was. Even when Layla busted him in the back, and she didn't even confront him. She didn't even interrupt. She watched. My girl
That
watched.
was crazy.
At one point, I was like, "Is she going to join in?" I was like, "What?
That
What
was
we doing
crazy.
here? Are we about to have real porn?"
Right. Right.
But
Right. And sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's so shocking to you that you're like, I'm just gonna sit. It's kind of like reminds me of there's a Cat Williams has one of his comedy shows where he talks about where he was in a Hollywood mansion somewhere and there was all kinds of wild things going by. And the one thing, and it cracks me up, he says like he was walking by, and I remember he's like walking by and then he saw something and then he eased back and just sat there and just went, Ooh, my light went out. Sorry. Turn it back on. But it was like one of those things where what what is happening? Like what is this thing? So I think for some people it wouldn't be, it's not in Lada's nature to be like, what's going on? It's more like, and
That's
literally it's
interesting.
me. Like
That's
literally
interesting.
that was me. That was me. It was like, when I
and
saw
and
the original Omar, like,
and to be honest with you, it wasn't so much shock. She accepted that's what he was, so she wasn't gonna pursue it. What she didn't know is that he's still with wanting women until he shows up in the kitchen with old girl.
right.
So she was like, "Oh,
Nia. Yeah,
okay,
Nia.
that's what we doing.
Yeah,
Well, then I
yeah.
want some too."
and
I
and
was like,
and
"Oh."
and that was actually a fun scene to write because it was like, how do I get it where in a way where it's not a conversational thing, where it's like kind of like a mirror image of the first time she sees Omar with Brent, which is when he's with Nia, which is, at this point in the story, she's thinking he's gay. we're friends.
Right.
He's spending the summer. He got kicked out of his apartment because he was like fooling around with somebody married. Not really married, but they were
They were
engaged.
engaged. Not no more.
And yeah, no more. But
That was crazy.
and her mind is thinking he's
Girl.
my buddy, and a lot of women are like this, are kind of like, he's my gay buddy, my gay friend, and someone she's had, and Layla is like, she wants this dude, but it's like she's thinking in her head, oh, he's gay. But then when she has her birthday party and she falls asleep, this is next morning, and Omar's gonna cook her, birthday pancakes, and there's, literally she's like, oh, it's us, we're having fun, and then she hears the toilet flush, and she's like, there's somebody else in this house with us? And then she sees Neil walk in and kissing Omar, like, hey, it was a great night. And just just the thought of her visually just seeing her stewing like,
Mhm.
this dude,
I, I,
just
I,
that,
I took it like I took it more
I'd
so
have been like,
like
oh, he hoeing. He hoeing,
yeah,
hoeing. All
exactly.
right.
Exactly. So this
but
will be
wait a
into.
Allegra,
All
is he
right,
hoeing?
okay.
Is he hoeing? Really?
He hoeing, hoeing.
Is he hoeing?
Man, I thoroughly enjoyed this because like I said, it was a whole new concept,
Mm-hmm.
one that you don't get. And I applaud you for coming out on that first release just like that. Putting it all out there. Like you said, you set the tone. So you know what to expect going forward. It could get a little bit more ratchet.
I mean,
Listen,
hey, like
We
the next.
welcome it.
Yeah, and the next book is called Me and Somebody's Daddy, which is a play on
girl.
a lot of it's a lot, and the cover, I put the cover, like, you guys were the first spot that I dropped the cover, and like I had my cover reveal, but I dropped it in, with you all, the
Somebody daddy, yo.
BSB, and but really it's like it's it's the play on the moon. Like I said, you talk about me and somebody's son, me and somebody's
Mhm.
daughter,
Yeah,
but it's
because
like,
CCJ wrote Me and Somebody's Son, which
yeah.
baby.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? Y'all can sit here and talk about that, but have y'all seen some of these daddies out here?
Have you
These
seen some
Uh,
of
have you
these
you
seen
better
these
daddies?
listen.
grown, extra grown,
What did
these
I
not
what did
even
I tell
daddy,
you
not
last
even
night?
daddy, these
Those
daddies out
still,
here.
yeah, the
Listen,
daddies.
What did
Who that
yes.
was? What's his
what
name?
did I tell you last night?
That
What
that
did I
guy.
tell
He was
you
like
last night?
about the guy from the football team, and she was
I
Yes.
like,
text
oh,
I
he can
text her
play, but
last
his
night.
daddy could get it too.
I text her last night, her and
Listen,
Tara, and I said,
listen,
listen, I said,
listen.
Aaron Donald's daddy is fine as fuck. I said, he was in an interview with him. I said, and I was looking at that interview and I said,
Hmm.
he better watch his
Listen,
daddy.
there is
Listen,
nothing
listen.
sexier than a fucking silver beard.
When
Oh
them
my
silver,
god,
ooh,
that shit,
ooh.
girl,
Them
listen.
silver
Woo!
foxes, they walk in and they look, and
Yes,
it's just like, and you
indeed.
get a man who's grown, who ain't out here trying to, he's just in his
Shit.
stuff. And it was
Mm.
like, literally, that was like a play on that, because it was just like, I want to write the next one, I want to write, it's an older man, younger woman, because the
Shit,
character,
some of
his
them are
name is,
grandpas.
listen, his name is, he's,
It's
well,
fine then.
Elgin, he's 44 in this one, so the young lady he's with, she's like 25. And basically,
Mm.
it's the story of Katrina. Her name is Katrina. They call her Kat. And basically, she's with this wonderful boyfriend who she thinks he's everything to her. And they go to this Juneteenth barbecue, and he introduces her, to his daddy. And in her mind, like, she knows, like, oh, his daddy is fine. But at the same time, the way she's looking at the dad is like, this is what my boyfriend's gonna look like when he gets mature. He gonna be coming out like this. It's gonna be all good. But then she gets dumped, and then so kind of a get back, and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna get with the daddy. I'm attracted to him. We're gonna see what it do. And the thing about
That's
daddy
gonna be
is,
some messy shit there.
he's a big rig trucker. He's a big rig trucker. He's into
Mm.
spanking kink. He's into spanking kink. So you're gonna get a lot of
Mm.
Ooh, BDSM.
yes, and
All
the
right.
Hey,
consensual
first
kind.
lady here.
you know
All
and it's
right.
and it's and it's and it takes place in my fictional town of Mariscal, Texas. And it's basically, and you're going to get a lot of the cultural things I love. Like, I love Chicago stepping and swing dancing and zydeco dancing, so it's going to be some of that in there. And well, there is some of that in there. And it's also going to deal with a lot of the stuff, because I am a practitioner of hoodoo, so it's going to have some of the hoodoo myths and legends in there, in terms of how the
Mm,
women and men perceive this young woman coming in here. So I'm going to like throw in some stuff that's like the stuff I grew up with, like the
child.
myths and legends. So really, it's like one of those books where it's like, to go from a faded to jump into something else. And a lot of my content is going to be that way. It's going to be, like I said, you're always going to get the high heat. You're always going to get some type of black cultural something, like something fun, exciting that, that I love. Because it's like, I love black people. And I feel like I want to show you how beautiful black people are,
And
and
that's exceptional
and
right
all the different cultural ways that we exist, whether it's the Geechee Gullah folks, whether it's the Creole folks, because I have like I was also a few years ago, I was a film independent fellow. So I come from a screenwriting background. So I had a screenplay that's called Iko Iko that deals with New Orleans and my love for New
Aiko,
Orleans.
Aiko, Ande.
Listen, and shout out to the family from the Dixie Cups, the sister that just passed away. And did you know that Iko Iko, the study and research I did from the word Iko Iko from West African languages, Iko Iko means listen, listen. So when you say Iko Iko Ande, you're saying listen, listen. Ande means we are. So there's those Africanisms, that Creole black stuff. It's that way that we talk to each other and that kind of coded language, and how we speak when we got to be around white folks sometimes and we had to say some things. So it's really, that particular book series, it's just my love for New Orleans and what New Orleans means to me in terms of one of the blackest, most African, most amazing cities ever. Like literally, if it wasn't for black people, New Orleans would just be Vegas and bland.
It would be very freaking bland. Very
like
freaking
black,
bland.
Let me tell you,
black folk
they're
make New
trying
Orleans
to.
what it
They
is.
are definitely trying to steal the culture.
Oh my God.
Change the culture.
And they're already gentrified. Like literally,
Oh yes.
like literally the first time I went down when I was first writing Iko Iko as a screenplay, I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go to New Orleans. I'm gonna talk to Big Chief Tootie. So literally, I called him up on the phone and I said, "Can I come to your house?" And I'm writing this script, but I need to hear you sing Indian Red to me, and I need to sit with you and Miss Joyce and like talk about what it means to be a black Creole man, being a black Mardi Gras Indian. And he said, "Baby, come on down."
Come on down.
And so I went down there. I interviewed and talked to him, ate, broke bread, and just really, just been honest with them. Like, look, I love this. I love us. This is what I'm doing. And he at the time, he was not like letting anybody just come up in his house and talk
Yo,
to
we keep
him.
talking our language, because that when
Listen.
I tell you,
Listen. And he was like, "Come on down." And when I did that, and like literally a couple years, like literally when I got into the fellowship, I got into the fellowship with that script at Film Independent. He went to, but y'all remember how he passed away. He was fighting for the Black Mardi Gras Indians, dropped dead of a heart attack. And Joyce was at the city hall talking about, Tootie, don't leave me, don't leave me. I was in the middle of the fellowship. I called her on the phone and she said, "Baby, come on down." And literally I went down there, and his homegoing was one of the biggest second lines, I think, in the history. And then Katrina hit right after that. And she told me years later, like when they were filming Treme, and I went to go stay down because I was talking to David Simon, and he was looking at me in terms of like thinking about writing on the TV show. And so I just said, I had an interview, had lunch with him in Hollywood. And I just said, "Can I just come to New Orleans when you film in Treme and hang out?" So that I called Joyce. And I was like, "Can I come stay at the house?" Because, and so she dropped me off at the place. And so I was watching when they were shooting the pilot of Treme. And, afterwards, when I was sitting with her and just talking, we having our red beans and rice, and we just sitting and talking, and we would go and hang out and go do a little gambling. And she had told me, she says, "I don't think Tootie would have made it through the hurricane. It would have been too much for his heart." And sometimes our elders leave, in the fight. And I just remember crying because I just thought he left fighting for those Black Mardi Gras Indians and fighting for our people down there. And
definitely,
I wanted that script. And so now it's like, what? I wanted to make it a movie. It's like, what? I'm going to turn that into a book, an ode to Black New Orleans people, because those are my peoples, and that's my favorite city, and I love it, and I do my best writing there. And so hopefully within the next couple of years, I'll give you that series and let y'all know. Y'all be the first to know. Like, look, here's the series, and I'm coming, because what I would like to do is go down and stay some time in New Orleans and actually write it there. Like the script and the outline for the books are already written. I just need to go down there and be filled up with that ancestral energy and like write that. But right now, personally, it's just like building the brand and building content and
Yep.
building a backlist of work. So, but the good thing is, you
And
got
don't forget about your audience, your readers.
yes, and then the
Yeah.
audience,
You need
you
somebody
know,
to read it, and that's where
yeah,
we come in. And what we
yeah,
want you to do, feel free to drop, those sneak peeks in
yes,
BSB. Feel free to, like you did your book cover release. I want to say again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for basically not being afraid to step out the box, especially with this initial release. I truly enjoyed it. I am looking forward to your next piece of work. Um, I like I say, I enjoyed it. Allegra, readers, do y'all have any questions for Lisa? We're gonna be wrapping up because we like to
hmm
respect everybody's time.
hmm
But Allegra, you got anything?
No, I enjoyed it. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did because, like I
hmm
said, I didn't. I definitely don't read reviews. I don't read reviews at all because
hmm
nobody reads the same.
right,
Right.
And I typically only read synopsis when I'm scrolling.
right,
But like if Ayana or somebody else that I trust tells me you're gonna enjoy this, read this,
hmm
I just do it. I
right,
don't read the synopsis.
Right.
right,
So it
right.
kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I was like, what she got me reading?
And listen, that's how I got to my fave LB, trusting her. And
Yeah,
and we ended up doing NACO, but I was telling them we reconnected and with Ashley Antoinette. So it's
right.
just those different levels. Christina said, "Can we get more from the Faded Trio? Do you
Yes,
expect to
yes, yes.
give us some updates?"
I expect I expect like I'm the one writing it. I, there's gonna be two more books. Like the second book is gonna really be about them. Is there possibly we'll see more on in the future? Oh yes, okay. Um listen. So the second book is gonna really be about them moving in together and actually codifying themselves as a family unit because I
Mhm.
think that's the direction they're going to move in because Layla and Brent have a good relationship and they've become good friends and they really enjoy each other outside of Omar.
That's
So
gonna
that
be
so
interesting.
that's going to be a little bit of tension for Omar. It's like we're going to live in this house, but and
For
like you said,
Omar, for
you know,
Brent.
yeah, and like I said, it's a V formation. And
Mhm.
so, and as far as the V formation is like Omar's at the bottom, you got Brent and Layla, but now you're going to have a situation where Layla and Brent have their own type of
I was
relationship.
about to say because see when you're on the outside looking in, you were thinking, oh, the woman has two boyfriends,
Yeah,
when in fact
it's
it's
the
the
dude,
man
right?
with a boyfriend and a
And the
girlfriend,
girlfriend,
which is
yes.
when
And
I
that
That
say
has to
wilding out.
be really crazy, like especially
you
with her and
know,
Brent being friends, because
that's good.
you and
Yeah,
Brent are so close that you figure,
right,
y'all could
right,
talk about anything.
right,
But
right,
when Omar pissed you off,
right.
who are you
And
talking
that's
to?
and
Because you
that's the
Right.
can't just
challenge.
tell
That
Brent.
that was one of the fears that Omar talks about in the book. It's like, what if I
Mhm.
break up with one of them? Are
Yes,
they still
he
gonna be
did say
hanging
Right.
that.
out? And where does that
Right.
leave me? And then the third
Right.
book is really gonna be about them wanting to start a family.
Okay.
Like how,
Okay.
and especially if Omar doesn't want to have children, but Brent does. So how are Brent and Layla, who want to have children, deal with that? So I kind of see it as a trilogy,
Mm,
a nice little trilogy of novellas.
this sounds
And
good.
you know what I mean? And like I said, I have
Okay.
a whole lot of content, but can I just say this before we go? Can I say thank you so much for like literally, I was
Absolutely.
telling Ayana before we even got started was like, I didn't expect um to be able to talk about the book so quickly. I thought one of these days I'll be able to do Bourbon Street or one of the other, book tubers and doing the stuff in the book clubs like a year from now when I have like a nice library of stuff to like, hey, I got this stuff. But I feel like literally it was like a few weeks after Faded dropped, Ayana hit me up on Instagram. Was like, would you do the show? So I just want to say thank you because when you're a newbie author, um, you guys have so many choices of books and new to you authors that you can choose to read and like put on your platform. So I'm very honored to be able to say, hey, I'm brand new. And you're like, we want to talk about this book. And I'm like, yes. And so literally, I feel like I've made it. Like, it's like, I've made it. Like, nothing else that happens for the rest of this year, it don't matter. Like, I made it. This is it.
Oh, but
I've
we are
done it.
so happy to
I've
put
done
that
it.
kind of smile on your face, and we're really
Oh,
humble.
you earned it. You earned
Yes,
it. We enjoyed the book.
truly.
You earned
and
it. We
and
Truly.
and
enjoyed the book.
a freebie that I shared with you guys earlier. Like I said, I come from also I write science fiction and fantasy, and
Mhm.
in my other writing life, with my government name.
Yeah, you're gonna have to drop that
It's
link in.
Lisa, there's a link. I think I dropped it in the
Yeah,
chat
You
in
earlier.
dropped it in
So
this private chat.
yes.
Uncanny.
Yes.
So if you want to see
Yeah.
like I said, I come from a screenwriting background and I've been published in other anthologies and also in a magazine. So if you want to read my science fiction fantasy, I dropped the link in there for Uncanny Magazine. Under my other name, because Lisa B. Trinidad is my romance writing name.
Mhm.
Because I do write speculative fiction, horror, and other stuff too. That's why the Trinity of
Yes.
three different things. So under Lisa Bolekaja, Bolekaja, I have a story in Uncanny Magazine. I think it came out like in I want to say 2015. I don't keep up with time. 2015. It's called Three Voices. So if you want to get
Mhm.
a taste of my sci-fi fantasy, it deals with music. There's weird things that happen. It's all black cultural. It's black folks all the time over here. So if you want to
Blackity
read
black black.
something, it's blackity black. It definitely is blackity black. So if you want to read something, I put the link in the chat for. It's called Three Voices, and it's in Uncanny Magazine under my other name, my sci-fi fantasy writing
Please
name.
put that in, share it in Bourbon Street Bookers.
Okay, I
Drop
will put
your
that in there too. I will drop
that
it in
link
there.
in there, and that
Yeah.
way readers will have an opportunity to go ahead and check it out. But
Yes.
again, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for coming.
Yes, we
Hey,
appreciate
are
you
you
for
kidding me?
joining us.
When y'all in New Orleans, my favorite like I was gonna be like, I was like thrilled. I was like, oh my God, I have made it. It's like my favorite city, one of my favorite book clubs, because like literally I'll be in your book club like lurking. Like I was lurking for a long time before the book came out. I was like, well, what they reading? Because y'all read everything.
We
And I
do.
read and I read
We
everything
do.
too. So it's like if I know
We
if y'all
do.
like it, I'm probably gonna like it too. So it's kind of
Do.
like, oh, let me jump
And
on
we
in there
want
and
to
stuff.
thank our readers,
Yes.
Christina, Tanja,
Thank you
um,
for reading it. And
Tara. Thank you for coming through. Monica, thank you for
Monica,
coming in.
yes,
We
yes,
appreciate you
Evelyn.
guys.
yes.
Evelyn, yes, Evelyn was tagging everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you guys. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. Again, Lisa, thank you for joining us. And just hold on for a moment. But ladies, y'all have a good evening. Thank you again for joining us.
Bye.
Get